2-week break. Let's see if the audio works.
2-week break.
Okay, good. So I put on the title, Living Like a Plant. I will be kind of just documenting my thoughts and happenings the last 2 weeks, because even I will forget this eventually. So 2 weeks ago, I didn't apply for those jobs that I should have. I received a message saying that I have to send a report of the job, or write what jobs did I apply for and so on. I haven't done that yet. Tomorrow is the deadline for that. But that's not important. The last stream, what I did there was focus on Iraq. Actually, the fan is blowing. I'll put it off. Right. Wondered what was that background noise. So I focused on Iraq, and afterwards I started to think about it, how to get it to work. I don't know how to explain it right now. I think I will just ignore the fact that people wouldn't understand. But in the future, if I make a video, it's easier to understand what I'm talking about here. So it's just going to be documentation. It's difficult. For the last 4 years, I have tried it over 10 times, maybe 20 times, tried to get it to work, but it's so demanding. It demands focus, it demands energy, consciousness, high consciousness, awareness. In reality, it doesn't actually require that, but eventually, if I start to use it, then it will raise the consciousness. So in some way it requires it, because eventually, or the consciousness rises every time I use it. That's what makes it demanding. And also, it is a different way of thinking. Why I haven't been able to do it in the past is I forget it. I simply forget that it exists, even though I have used hundreds of hours trying to, or thinking about it, trying to get it to work. I still forget that, oh yeah, I have this alternative way of thinking. So I started to focus on that. And a week ago, I failed my entertainment restriction decision that I made. I think it was at the end of January. I decided to let go of K-pop content and YouTube entertainment in general. And that lasted for 4 months. 2 months ago, I brought back watching music videos. So it was pretty much just listening to music, but I used the visuals as well. I don't count it as entertainment, really. I do have Google Play order. I paid for something I don't use. Ah, no, YouTube Premium, okay. And then 2 months ago, also I brought back watching news, which is kind of entertainment for me. So watching YouTube videos, news videos. I stopped doing that. I think it was after 2 or 3 weeks. But a week ago, I was just checking Instagram. There was a post and it was K-pop related because the algorithm knows I have followed over 50 K-pop idols. There, even though I unfollowed them, the algorithm shows me K-pop stuff. So I have seen some single posts from time to time about K-pop, and it was about my ultimate bias, Gaul, and her YouTube channel. I knew she was going to launch YouTube channel at some point, but because I had restricted myself, I didn't know if it happened. But then a week ago I saw a post about that, and in the post there was also another idol from another group, which was my bias from that group. I caved and I wanted to watch that video. And then it led to a few days of me just putting my brain away and living like a plant. Why I failed, I don't see it as, well, yeah, it was failing, but I don't care that much. The reason was that I think I mentioned 2 weeks ago, my last stream, that using Iraq is very difficult. Maybe I didn't mention it. Anyways, it's so difficult that it will change how I live, like how I work, it's too late to do this. How I do things, how I think. I'm kind of handicapping myself. In order to start using this new system, that's in the beginning it's more difficult to use, but eventually it will have greatly more potential, higher potential. So I kind of suspected this, maybe, that focusing on Iraq means that I don't have strength, motivation, and reason to stick to other areas, and restricting entertainment was one of them. Because I hadn't watched any entertainment videos for the past 4 months, it took a few days of me to finally have my consciousness to rise again. Consciousness. I just muted it. Okay. Right. In some way I was trapped. But it was a good thing that it did take only like 2 to 3 days and not for weeks. That has happened before, maybe because I don't play any games. In the past, I have gone into these unproductive periods where I would just play video games or watch TV series for weeks. But this time I didn't do any of that, and I don't want. But something like YouTube, that's easy. Don't need to invest much. It's just short videos, but not super short. I didn't watch. I haven't used TikTok. Actually, I must say, now that I mentioned the games as well, that I'm a bit of surprised how little I have like cravings to watch something like TikTok or TV series, movies, or play video games. I haven't even considered them. It's just YouTube. It's just the most used, most common entertainment I have consumed over. Actually, playing video games is the most. Yeah, in the past few years has been YouTube. But when I started to feel bored a little bit, hey, the algorithm doesn't show me much more. And of course, because I did have a break, I watched some videos again that I have watched before. But then I came to a point where I felt, okay, that's enough. I experienced the entertainment again, and I could start thinking a little more, thinking once more, and how I felt in that moment was the planned feeling, a bit random and not that important. I just decided to make that as a title because it is an interesting one. I didn't feel any pressure from outside, no anxiety around my future, my choices. I was just chilling and going with easy entertainment. Very calm, silent. And without any thought. So I actually tried to remember, did I have any like conscious, anyway productive thought in the last few days when I ended the start of the entertainment consuming again? And no, I did not have conscious thoughts. And after that, I started to come back a little bit. And okay, no, I will talk about it a little more. It wasn't just entertainment YouTube, it was also watching news that I had restricted. And now when I think about it, I think just a month ago I made that restriction again active. So it was also watching news and technology news. But yes, going back to the plant feeling, I remember that I felt no motivation to do anything. Kind of, that few days of allowing me and my mind to just reset got me to a point where I didn't remember, like I didn't have many conscious thoughts during those few days, and I didn't think about it anything other than the entertainment itself. So I built myself this bubble, or it was formed. And then when I started to think, little by little, I started to remember what my life was about, and yeah, even though I watched the news videos, they didn't really they didn't activate my brain that much. And I think, yeah, it's misleading for me to say I didn't have conscious thoughts, but I mean a certain level of consciousness, because it's a range, it's not fixed. But the point was that I kind of went to this bottom, relaxed there, and then I slowly came out of it, started to activate my thinking. Okay, I'm living still, and remembering these plans of mine. A week ago at Saturday, I think it was the second day of entertainment, I actually went for a run after, I think, 5-month running break. I have mentioned this before, that running, especially longer distances, I have decided to not do anymore. I'm not going to train for a marathon or ultra marathons that I would do if it wasn't for this world peace goal. But I watched a video about running. It was a comedy or entertainment type of video. Some comedians went for a run and they hated it. They ran 6 kilometers, and I decided, hey, I want to go for a run. And of course, running is better than watching entertainment. I ran 10 kilometers, my usual route, usual distance. And what was it? Around 6 minutes per kilometer pace, which is quite usual what I have run that last 2 years, I think. No, year and a half. And my heart rate on average was 181, which was quite high. But surprisingly, my breathing wasn't difficult. So that's why I kept that pace. It didn't feel that difficult, but of course I did feel some. I did feel the effect of not having run. Yeah, okay. So I slowly started to come out of it, started to regain motivation to do other stuff than just consume. And of course, I continued thinking about Iraq. 2 weeks ago, I decided to tackle it or start tackling it. And I started now in the last few days. I have done, in my opinion, great progress towards actually getting it to use. Why am I not focusing on other stuff like applying for jobs or planning my future or getting rid of my stuff that I started almost 4 months ago, 3.5. The reason is I have my life's goal, world peace, but I have another one, which is Iraq. So Iraq thinking structure represents it's vague idea or the term means much more than just the thinking structure. I have said that before. It represents my thinking capabilities in general and also in some way self-development as well. That has been my goal for already over 10 years, way before I figured out that world peace is my ultimate goal. I want to change how I think, how I work, how I create. And right now, I'm in a state where I'm again trying to start using Iraq, but this time, similarly, like in the past, I'm in the best possible spot so far to get it to work because I have figured out a lot of myself, my future, what I want. I have made very good progress in the last few days of actually starting to realize that this is happening. Like I should have this pressure from outside to abandon it and then focus on normal stuff like studies or applying for a job. But it's not going to happen. I'm at the state where I can't postpone this Iraq anymore. At least I feel like it. And it's very interesting. It's very interesting why it is difficult. And okay, yeah. It's interesting why it's difficult, but not that interesting, maybe. What's more interesting is I have used Iraq as an excuse to not start investing into any areas of my life, because I have felt like that eventually I want to start using IRAC that will redo what I would have done already. So every time I would start to have these ideas, hey, I want to make this project like communication platform, I have the excuse that, hey, actually I want to first start using IRAC, and then as I develop this project further, I will develop IRAC, because it's just logical to start using as soon as possible. So right now I realize that very well, how big our obstacle IRAC has been. And I'm discovering new ideas, new feelings, which is very good. I'm liking it. I'm liking this a lot. Once I unlocked few things, I realized, hey, I'm actually getting over this, because before IRAC was always in front of me. But now I'm starting to get to a point where I can move past it. And I would kind of naturally want to maybe compare this to something else that I have had in my life, like studies, maybe university studies, that the end was always somewhere in front, and it felt like it was never going to happen. But then I got over, or the study time ended 5 months ago. And now I don't have that same feeling again. But I can't compare it. Like I said, IRAC is one of my bigger goals in life. That's why I don't care about getting a good job or even start to implement or start these world peace projects, because I have feared that I don't have motivation again or anymore to work on IRAC. So this is the perfect moment for it. And as I actually think about it, that there is a life where I'm using it, feels unreal. It feels unreal that I am here finally. And of course, it's possible that I'm not going to do this now or ever, but at least currently there is no alternative. I don't have anything else or any argument against this, because I can't consume entertainment endlessly, and I have literally nothing else to do. But yeah. Why this is big thing as I mentioned, the studies, that was roadblock that I knew was in front of me. Something that kept me here in Tampere. I felt that I couldn't move as fast as I wanted. There was something holding me back. This IRAC is similar. So now when I think about it, okay, when I get past this, when IRAC is not holding me back anymore, then what is the next thing that I will come across? And right now it's world peace. Like there shouldn't be any other. The studies I can say were very they felt like a very tall mountain. It was blocking my view. I couldn't think about what to do afterwards. It had a very big effect, but that was because I started my university studies at 2017, almost 9 years ago. And since then, I had kind of gradually built studies to represent this or be this huge mountain. But I'm not going to do that, of course, anymore. I'm not going to build any big monsters like that. I can handle all my feelings if necessary and move on quicker. Of course, older, I have more experience and I'm not going to fall on that trap again. And as I mentioned, that many types of entertainment I haven't, for some reason, felt need to do. I have actually kept my eating as well. I haven't caved on that. So I'm at least trying to eat less calories that I consume, even though I'm not moving much during my days. My body would love to eat more, but I haven't caved on that. Now thinking, have I talked enough for me to understand or get to this feeling again in the future, not for others to understand? Living like a plant. I haven't heard about the Philippines opportunity in a week. A week ago, I received a email saying it will take a little longer, or it was very vague. They just said, hey, the process continues. And I thought I would receive at least some email, either saying, hey, this will take a little longer still, or get the final result. I don't know how many other applicants there are already. It's possible that they will just want to gather many of them. I'm kind of, well, it's very difficult to say, are my chances to get the job. I'm kind of leaning towards not getting it. And that's perfectly fine. There are so many good things, both of them, but because it's more difficult to move to abroad than to think, I want to move to abroad first. I realized just today, when I thought about, I have wanted to make this video, document my thoughts for a few days already. Now I finally decided to do that, and I realized that, oh yeah, 4 months ago also I stopped making private vlogs, and I have almost forgotten that I used to do that. Think aloud like I'm doing right now, but privately. That's of course way more or a little more effective for thinking purposes only. I realized that I wouldn't care about that less, that it's more easy to think just inside my head than continue yapping. Maybe if I turn to Finnish, I think even then, especially with the work that I'm doing now, which is to focus on Iraq, which is to discover new things, new feelings, new ideas. That work doesn't require explanation, and actually explaining thought processes, it's so difficult that it would be counterproductive to do that while talking. But yeah, that's it, I think. Do I need anything else? I don't think I will be making any streams. Because when Iraq works, I don't need to write things down anymore. Of course, if I start working, like studying properly or creating the projects, I will stream those, but just self-development is, yeah, it's so much quicker and better to do without streaming. Yeah, this is it. This is enough. Right, it was 40 minutes. That's good. That is good.